You're listening to The People's Pitch, the official podcast of Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by FootballStadiumPrints.com. Let's start the show.
And as I talked about just a couple minutes ago, as Joe Watt stands over this one, he appears to be the one taking the penalty here. This is a huge confidence booster if you're a Duluth.
Worst case scenario for City right here.
And it stopped! Yes! And it stopped!
Totally redeems himself.
Matt Elder redeeming himself. Oliver with the right foot. The shot of the goal!
Oliver!
Justin Oliver will break the scoreless tie. And it is 1-0 Minneapolis City. Is Hutton now on the offense with the left foot. And it is now 2-0 Minneapolis City.
Good finish.
Nick Hutton taking his quick victory lap.
Welcome to the People's Pitch Podcast, the number one podcast on Spotify, dedicated to your Minneapolis City SC. Joining me, as always, is the Holly to my jolly, John Bisworm. John, we are finally up on Spotify, and I wish I could say that we know what we did to make that happen, but we're here, and that's cool, and that's exciting.
Well, I know exactly what happened, Nate, if you want to bear with me here for a second. So our old podcast host, was it podcast.com?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it was, they went belly up, and they were holding on to our their domain as ownership of all of our recordings. So when they went belly up, everything went to public domain, and then Spotify was able to make the connection. So thank you for going belly up, podcast.com or whatever you were. But one man's trash is another man's treasure, Nate. This week's show. I guess we're another man's trash. I don't know. We're trash sometimes. So this week's show is a great one. It's an emotional one, but we'll start off with the highs. We'll go through some more highs, and then we'll get to some sad lows. We start off because it's kit season. We will run down our personal favorites that dropped today and talk about how you yourself can vote on what the boys will be trotting out wearing this season. And at the end of the show, we will be talking with and welcoming City Original goalkeeper Matt Elder to talk about his time with the club and his newly announced retirement, and we'll try not to cry, Nate.
That's right. If you're not crying, I'm not crying. You're crying. You're crying. I'm not crying.
Yeah. You're crying.
You're crying. Let's start. Yeah, let's start. So we can think about something else for a little bit. We actually have a quick bit of news to discuss before we get going. John, you've been having some conversations recently and you may or may not have signed me up for total embarrassment coming up here next year.
No, I totally signed you up for total utter embarrassment this year. It's what I do. It's why we work well together. A good yin and yang we got going on here. Yeah, you're correct. Better strap up, pal. Better get in the driver's seat.
Better what?
As many of you know, we have spent the past two off seasons partaking in what is called the Lower League E-Cup. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a FIFA tournament. It's representing all lower leagues in soccer. There's representatives for each team. There's two divisions. There's a competitive division and what I like to call the training wheels division. I have Nate to be this year's representative of the Crow Nation as the murder representative for hitting the FIFA sticks in the training wheels division via the PlayStation gaming console. And you got some big shoes to fill because we have been the bridesmaid, never the bride. 2 championship games and lost. So good luck, pal. Are you ready to move out of the commentary booth and into the hot seat?
I mean, I suppose I play quite a bit of FIFA very badly. So, yeah, man, I think I can play really badly in front of Twitch. I'm fine with that.
Well, I think the best part of it is that I'll be in your ear this time.
I was going to say, mic'd up?
Yeah, you'll be mic'd up, as will I, and I'll be criticizing your every digital move, making sure that I tell you what subs to bring on. So we'll find out what team you're getting, and then I'll go into the people lab myself. I'll get to know your players and your formations, and maybe I'll provide some suggestions for you throughout the commentary.
Oh, okay. That's more work than you've done in any of the other lower league cups. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I didn't really need to do it for anybody else. We had two really good players. So, are you
Thanks.
also are you also ready to undergo the strict training program that I have, like no booze, abstinence, all that?
No. No, you know what I have been doing those? I'm like, man, I better start watching some YouTube videos and like figure out how to do skill moves and work on my meta. I got to work on the meta, John.
No way, man. Just move the ball. Just move
the ball. Move the ball. The thing is you got to move the ball effectively in the correct formation for the meta.
Yeah, but just move the ball. No need to do fancy circus. The circus isn't in town, Nate. Just keep it simple. Move the ball.
No rainbows into volleys. Just high percentage passes, high percentage shots.
Yeah. Shoot the ball.
Got Jonah so far.
What's that?
That's what got Jonah so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So we, of course, will be doing all the pageantry as previous years, among a few other surprises that we'll concoct. But be sure to stay tuned to all the city's social channels, as well as at Lower League E Cup on Twitter for more information after the turn of the new year. And cheer our boy on. See what Nate can do this year.
It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so dumb.
You're gonna be so bad.
Oh man. Hey, yeah. So moving on, let's talk about something else. Just when you start to think that City is getting ready to pack it in for the holidays, they slap you in the brain with more excellency. And today was maybe the prime example of that. I'm talking about at 10:01 today, Minneapolis City released their kit design concepts to the public in advance of the members voting for the winners. And before we get into our own personal favorites, John, I am curious about this every year. Tell us a little bit about how these get designed and developed alongside our kit partner, Stimulus Athletic.
Well, it's pretty easy. Stimulus does whatever we ask, which is awesome. It's not like going through Nike or Adidas or Puma, Under Armour, any of the stock companies that maybe some of our cousins that live above the soccer ladder go through. We have carte blanche, I guess you can say, of all of our designs, and with the printing that Jason Mora and Stimulus Athletic has been able to do over the years, with especially the supplemental printing of any designs that we throw at them, it's been really nice because we don't have to go through and be like, okay, so how are we going to make this stock piece of shit colored shirt look cool? We can just go right at it from a design perspective. So that's kind of where it starts. And then, we initiate kind of the stable of designers that we have. I know everyone knows who Matthew Wolf is. If you don't know, Google him. He's probably one of the most popular kit designer in North America, and probably in there globally with his time working for Nike Soccer.
Oh yeah.
He was the mastermind behind the past some past iconic jerseys, like the Nigeria jersey for the World Cup, the French women's national team jersey for the last World Cup. Really classy design. Really great guy. Has Minnesota roots, which is also awesome. So he's got his fingers in the designs for us this year. Again, as does some of the more in-house folks that we also throw out to. So we just throw it out, like any other design project that you and I are well versed in, Nate. You just stick it all on the wall and see what stays up.
You put up the bat signal and you see what you get.
Yep.
From the bats. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, so I don't have like this crazy, mad scientist, sexy answer for you. It's just we just pick up the phone and call the people that we know can make good, cool shit, and we vote on the cool shit, and then Jason makes it. It's real easy, actually.
That's amazing that I shouldn't say that they answer, but that's just cool that year in and year out, we've got these designers that work behind the scenes, in order to do that. Mostly because I know we've tried to talk to Matt Wolf before, and he just doesn't do interviews, which is probably a good philosophy, a good approach if you're designing things as potentially I guess divisive as kits. People have a lot of opinions on design, and so it's better just to stay away from that. But it also kind of obscures that process from people until the kits drop, which I always like the best, is like this, like, boom, they're here. And that happened this morning, and they're wonderful. If you haven't seen on Twitter or Instagram or any social media that you follow Minneapolis City on, you should definitely check them out. All 6 or 8 kits dropped today.
I think it's
3 home,
3 home, 3 away.
And I'll tell you, my picks are in already in my mind, John. I'm going to go with the Majestic Beast and the Static Blast. I think that evolving that black wing kit that we played into a kit that features just that single angry crow coming over the shoulder is a great step forward. It looks really cool, and it brings the iconic crow to life for Minneapolis City in a new way. I also appreciate that we have an option that takes last year's Bowie MC2 kit and turns it up to 11, man. The multiple layers of pink and blue and white lightning bolts are really, really cool. I think that Static Blast is really going to stand out, especially now that more and more clubs are getting on the pink bandwagon. You got to stay on top of it. You got to do something that's both cool and eye-catching instead of just like someone threw up pink all over the place. Are you allowed? Can you talk about your favorites, or is it verboten?
No, I can talk about what my favorites are. I agree with you 100. I do feel those are the ones that are going to win. I did have some conversation with the internal group before they went out that I call it the cartoon kit because it looks like someone from the Simpsons. The Simpsons cartoon back of the house design team developed it. The one that has like the crow and the spoon with the cherry and the cat on it. I had conversations saying like, how do I get my face somewhere as an Easter egg on that jersey?
Like the Tootsie Roll like the Tootsie Pop wrapper?
Yeah, like how do I get like a John Bisworm character on that? And then it evolved into, why don't we do like a Tom Stegman, an ode to Stegman, myself, Dan, and Nick, the founders, as like a Mount Rushmore kind of effect on there, as well as a little Easter egg. I was completely shot down, but I like that design. What's that?
Who? Tasteless people.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's what the people are here for. And then people already told me like, well, you already have a T-shirt with your face on it. And then then all the jokes came up from the Football Stadium Prince Legend series. But anyways, I kind of like that one because it just makes things not as serious as people take all this. It's kind of it's just a very tongue-in-cheek way to be like, we're going to wear this and we're going to come out and beat you in it. And there's nothing you can do about it.
I thought exactly when I saw it. Like, I think I tweeted out that it reminds me of that character in Kill Bill, the like Japanese schoolgirl that just pulls like a huge spiked ball on the end of a chain out of nowhere and just starts beating people up.
Yep.
Just
exactly.
crushed skulls.
Yeah, like wearing like thigh high socks and just working people over. But yeah, I like that one. But the Majestic Beast one, I think you nailed it. The evolution of the wing kit, which was really iconic. I mean, I kind of have always thought that maybe a white and black version of the Paul Bunyan kit would be cool to revisit. But the Majestic Beast looks great. I think from the pink perspective, I really like the drippity droppity kind of spray paint looking. Goes back to kind of our initial like trying to be kind of punk rock football, even though we have the more traditional punk rock looking poster version in pink. I like that spray paint one, but I think that if you're trotting out a jersey, the other kind of evolution of the Bowie kit, I think looks pretty sharp. I don't think you can, like all years, I don't think you can go wrong. And also, I think from a marketing perspective, we've also positioned ourselves well and just calling up Jason and being like, "Hey, we want to run 50 of these and sell them as a limited run, and then see how that goes."
Yeah, I mean, I remember the year that the stealth kit didn't win, which was just a damn shame. But still, we were able to buy that stealth kit later, and it is one of the favorite kits that I own. And I'm happy to note that I'm actually back able to fit into it after
Oh,
a summer.
nice.
After a summer of soccer, I can wear that kit again. The pandemic got me out of the kit, and then soccer got me back in.
You're right. Yeah, the love of the game got you right back into it, Nate.
Well, voting starts soon on these kits. If you want a voice in picking the next look of Minneapolis City, so if you're not a member, head on over to mplscitysc.com and sign up today. If you are a member, you can expect that poll to be in your inbox within the next couple weeks before the holiday.
Go vote. It's your democratic duty. If you think way back to this show's beginning on episode 5, if you haven't listened to it yet, go have a listen. We had this man on as one of the first players ever to grace our presence on the show. We had no idea that what we were doing back then. We drank way too much Summit. Things got a little sloppy, but we came out of that before we even kicked the ball with the beginning of a career in lower league soccer that few, I feel, will ever match. Tonight, we are pleased to welcome the club's GOAT, newly retired, soon-to-be dad, the Matt Elder. Matt, welcome back, man. How is retired life? Lots of Mai Tais on the beach between rounds of golf or anything like that?
Yeah, it's exactly what everybody dreams of. A lot of free time and, mixing in some Mai Tais when I can. I will say I miss the guys, though.
Yeah, I that's like the first thing you miss when you want. Before we dive in here, it's customary that we hit the highlights and accomplishments of our guests. So we've kind of truncated them a little bit here, so you'll have to bear with us. There was a lot of accomplishments. So you had a 4-year standout career at UW Superior before you went into the trial process at the next level, ultimately ending with the Twin Stars. Recovered from a pretty horrific leg injury that would have ended most careers, but that was kind of like I believe kind of what started everything with us. You're the club's all-time leader in wins, saves, goals against average, and penalty kick save percentage. You're a 2-time career U.S. Open Cup victor. You hold 3 NPSL North Conference titles, 1 undefeated season, 1 Summit Keg Match Championship, 2 Papa Panther Memorial Cups, and you anchored not 1, but 2 defenses that led the NPSL, all of NPSL, in the nation in goals against average. That's a pretty good career, man.
Yeah, when you rattle them off, there's some things in there I wasn't even aware of.
Like what?
Well, I guess the Summit Cup, that brings back good memories. I don't know how I play on the field that game. Yeah, I'm not sure how I earned that. I was on the field for part of that.
That was the infamous, we got too drunk celebrating it that we left the trophy on the field, and then we went back the next day and it was just sitting on the bench.
I love
it. So we'll talk about some of your run with the club in detail tonight. But Matt, with an NPSL career like this, was it, I mean, I think I know the answer, but we ask, was the decision to step away a quick one given where you're at in life now, or did you have to think that maybe it's possible I just give it one more shot?
I for sure give it one more shot. I went through the roller coaster of trying to make that decision, and you could have asked me on any given day what I was going to do, and it would have been different. So it wasn't a decision that was made quickly. It took quite some time. And I mean, I feel good about the decision now that it's behind me, but it was not one that was made lightly.
So did you have the support of like what your family, like what did they say about things?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the cool thing is my wife basically was a soundboard for me. and played the pros and the cons for me. But at no time said, I wish you wouldn't play because it's a lot of sacrifice on time, or threw the baby card at me like, hey, we've got a kid coming. How are you going to do all of this? So she was super supportive and helped me get to my decision, but by no means forced me into it. So it was nice to have that, because it's a lot of time that, we sacrifice as players and the coaches. And that's our personal time and our personal decision, but it obviously comes with people around you that are also affected. So the fact that she was cool about it and let me get to my own decision made it a lot easier.
Well, now we just boot up that Stegman's career. You just play on Sunday.
I feel like I got pretty lucky staying away from some serious injuries, outside of my leg. I don't know that I have a men's league future ahead of me.
You never know what happens in those games.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Matt, I'm gonna ask you a direct question, and I need you to be honest with us. Are you gonna be the goalkeeper for Joy of the People next year?
That's a no.
I mean, there's a record of legends retiring and showing up for the team in the suburbs. It's just a little worrisome.
Yeah, no. If I had the desire to play another season, there's no doubt what crest I would be wearing.
So 5 years ago, Matt, when you started with the club, you were a young lad, not far removed from UW Superior, and your brief stint with Twin Stars, coming back after that leg injury. Did you have any long-term goals when you joined, or when you signed with Minneapolis City or signed up with Minneapolis City, or was it just a matter of I just got to see if I can still do this thing?
Yeah, kind of the latter. I had a coach growing up, Chris Laird, played for him at PSA, and he always said something that stuck with me, and it was play as long as you can at the highest level that you can. So that was really just my goal. And we, when City started, I don't know that anybody knew what it was going to become. And so at the time I started 5-6 years ago, whenever it was one of those this seems like a competitive environment. I'm not quite ready to be done with the game. I'm going to, try to play for this team, see where it goes. And as I've just seen the development with City, it got harder and harder every single year to walk away from.
Mm-hmm.
So and also, going back, I would say probably harder to stick around competitively. We'll get to that later.
So going back to the early days, Matt, what do you remember most about getting things off the ground with the club?
Alchemy Dome is the first thing that pops. I mean, I remember, AO is one of the guys that stood out of the gates. I didn't know anybody at the open tryout. I didn't know Keith at the time, who was the coach of that first year team. I didn't know AO or any of the other Stegman guys that were there for the open tryout and ultimately part of the first team, or really any of the college guys that were coming back to round out the roster. So it was pretty eye-opening to see how much local talent there was, because it just was something that I was not aware of. And so that was cool. It was cool to kind of broaden my network and, just overall my friendship, and get to know a lot of guys that, like a Will Kidd I ended up playing with for the last 5 years, or a Stiggy that, we played a few years together with a few in between where he was doing his own thing out of town. And those are lifelong friends now. So that's a big takeaway.
I thought you would note the time that we went to the Nomad with Nate Engel to do guerrilla marketing and just got super hammered, and then had to do interviews with press.
Yeah, that PBR and a bump for $5 got up fast.
Yeah, it definitely did. The club card racked up quite a few digits that day.
The club card.
Yeah, that was a good time. I kind of try to block that out, actually.
Matt, I remember. So thinking back to those kind of early days, the first few games of that inaugural PLA season, I remember that, I would say we were all kind of learning the ropes, but me especially, because this was my first real exposure to soccer day in and day out. And I think I asked you like a total noob question when I was interviewing for the podcast. It was something like, do all the lines on the field confuse you? Because I'd never seen soccer played at like a high school field before. And you didn't, I mean, it was the super, looking back, it's like, wow, that is a stupid question. And I can't believe you didn't give me any shit for it or anything ever. You answered it so earnestly, so you're so open to John and I, to the fans, to the show. It's just an example that through all these years, the thing about your tenure at City that really stands out to me is how gracious you are with the fans and with the people that are just excited to watch the team. What's it been like to watch that kind of ragtag group of weirdos that showed up at the barnyard every week turn into 1,000 people strong week in and week out at the Nelly, made up of parents and kids from all over the metro area, and people driving from Rochester to see us or to see you? Like, quite the evolution.
Yeah, for sure. And I think any player that dismisses how important or how enjoyable it is to play on a home field in front of fans in an atmosphere like this is not being truthful. I mean, that was a big part of the reason that made the sacrifice for the late Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday trainings, and the desire to be at the top of my game, so I had the ability to be on the field and playing for them, in front of them. It was going through the line at the end of a game and shaking everybody's hands, and towards the last couple of seasons having a cold one ready for me at the end. I mean, those are some of my best memories in all of my 20 plus years playing the game. So yeah, it was cool to see, the evolution from that grass field at Minneapolis, whatever high school it was, south to, securing a real good field in Augsburg in the middle of the city. And yeah, I mean, those last few home games that we had in playoffs where, you were looking up and the Nelly was packed. I mean, you couldn't find an empty seat there. That was some of the most fun I've had playing the game.
Yeah, those last few games were definitely capacity, which is amazing how we ended up there. What a great time.
Well, let's be a little quiet on talking about capacity issues here. We'll just say there was maybe like 300 people there.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's a lot of people. Did it ever strike you, Matt, how strange it is for, I guess, an otherwise normal, like 20-something guy in real estate to have people like screaming your name and like have a custom cheer for you and things like that? Like, do you go to work and you're just like, yeah, saved a couple, had some people yelling my name, only about 500 or so of them, no big deal. How was your weekend?
Well, it's pretty cool because as City grew and kind of the marketing grew, I mean, there were people at my work asking me about like the team, where do we play, when do we play next, how can we come watch? And I mean, I had a bunch of work guys. I mean, my partner at work hosted a bachelor party there.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah.
He had his bachelor party.
Yeah, so I mean, I think those last few games into the playoffs, I probably had 7 or 8 coworkers there. And so they obviously track it on social media and they see all of it, but they started to ask a lot of questions and learn a lot about, and I think really came to like City, and they were some of the most disappointed people when they found out I was hanging up the boots.
Did you ever think that you would be Art?
That I never thought.
Thinking of other weird developments in your life, does that line up as probably the most weird?
Seeing myself on the side of the Viking bar, yeah, that was pretty unique. I would have never guessed that in a million years.
Have you had any like interesting fan interactions in like a not like a unique scenario since you've played with the club?
every now and then I'd be out and wearing a City shirt and people would recognize the brand and the club. I think one super cool thing, a guy that I work with, he's late 30s. His brother was a season ticket holder and like went to all the games and loved City. And it wasn't until like year 4 that my coworker pieced together this lower league club that his younger brother was tracking and following and supporting was the same club that I played for. So that was cool when we pieced those together.
They thought it was you were just playing for some rec league club or something.
People that don't track it, they don't necessarily know what the commitment and the level is, and you also don't want to be the guy that's like, no, you don't understand. It's not bar league.
No, I'm like
it's high level.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal if you haven't realized. So in the years you've been with the club, is there one teammate that you didn't know well or even at all? I mean, you mentioned a little bit, some names at all before you played with City that over time that you've connected with them the most?
There's a few. I mean, I'd say Hutton for sure, just because we're kind of in the same walks of life. And we were around for that inaugural season, and he's outlasted me now at this point. But he's a guy that we really kind of gravitated towards and have built a really nice relationship with. I'd say another guy would just be Stiggy. It's been really cool to the first season where he was, God, I don't know, he had to have been 18 years old if he was even that old. And just a good, young, talented kid, had a lot to learn about, the game and just growing into being an adult. To my last season, he was our captain and as good of a leader as you could play for. So it was cool to see some of those guys. Another guy is Ian, just grow up and kind of go from, kids and high school kids to you're an adult now and make me feel old.
Yeah, you have a day job or Ian's off playing pro soccer in Norway now. It's like, wow, things really got adult pretty quick.
No doubt.
So what teammate that you played with had like an annoying habit? And what was it?
I'd say Ale, and the annoying habit is probably something nobody else really picked up on or bugged, but I'm a pretty punctual guy. So when he was walking in at 9:06 to every single training and we would supposed to be warming up at 9:00, that really just like grinded my gears. Cause it's like, how can you not get here 6 minutes earlier? It's not hard. It's the same time every night.
Same place.
Yeah. So it was one of those where like you just knew he was gonna be late. It was one of those where like wake up earlier or leave early or do what you gotta do, but try coming a little earlier.
Well, the hard thing is that we use like a mobile app that people don't know. We use a mobile app that's like our team management tool, and it's like got all the calendars in it. And I had talked to Adam when he was the coach, because he said kind of the same thing. Like, this guy's always late, and I was like, we use an app. We can't tell him that it starts at 8:55, and then he shows up at 9. Then like we just can't. It's like literally in the app at 9:00. He's gonna be late every time. You just gotta accept it.
Yeah. So that was it, and I mean that's pretty good if that's the only thing that out of a group of 60 some guys that is annoying. But it was just one of those things where I think everybody just came to accept it, and he'd jump in halfway through warmups.
It's funny because he jumped in halfway through that final friendly at the of this season at against Augsburg. I don't know, John, if you were there, if you remember that.
Oh no, I wasn't there, but I know didn't he come like 30 minutes late?
Yes.
So we could ask you about like what's your favorite win or your most memorable success, but what I want to know is, what was your favorite match, like end to end, that you played in at your time with City?
That's a good question because we have so many that were fun for so many different reasons. I think the U.S. Open Cup game against Oakland at the National Sports Center stands out
Mm-hmm.
just because that was a game where we just were grinding and we were playing well and we were getting our chances, and they just weren't falling. And then we went down 1-0 off just some stupid individual talent from their side, and then we're able to claw back. Couldn't find one in regulation, and then we're able to pull one out in extra time, and to do it at National Sports Center, where at that point United was still playing and training in a U.S. Open Cup match. That was pretty special.
Yeah, I get asked the question often from people like, so what's your favorite moment? And I always go back to that Open Cup team that we had, not just because I was coaching that team, because we just didn't have a coach then. But like that group that we put together for that game really ended up being the core for like the next 4 years after it. Like we didn't have much turnover and we didn't know what was going to happen after that. Like we didn't, moving into the NPSL, like we didn't know if we were going to need to skew younger or we're going to need to like start breaking our rules about having out of town players. We really had no clue, but that core that we put together was, if you just list off the names, was a whole bunch of guys that are joining you in the legend category.
Yeah, it was a really fun team. And I think at that point we had snagged a couple guys from the United Reserves who we had played the season before and kind of saw what we were doing and wanted a chance to get in the door. And what a better way than an Open Cup when you were short guys at a college season. And that was a special run.
Well, and that was the game that was the first ever Nordo experience when he called the game. And then because Nate was playing music that we weren't licensed, YouTube took down the audio, so no one ever got to hear the replay of Nordo's telecast.
Yeah, and you can chalk that up as a major win moving forward, because having him on the mic for the rest of our home games over the last 3 years is, how many teams can say they have the play-by-play or the color guy from their professional football team
Right?
as their announcer for their lower league soccer team? So that's pretty special that we have that as well.
The 9 to noon producer of the number 1 rated sports talk station in the country.
Yeah,
not a bad get.
No.
All these years that you've been playing for the club, Matt, Minneapolis City is, we kind of talked about it a second ago, but it's a competitive environment, and it's only gotten more competitive ever since those early days of the PLA. And yet, from Duncan Whirling to Pete Runquist, Big Game James, more recently Troy Lewegi, every year it feels like you have fended off a new up-and-coming goalkeeper. Every year we look at the new goalkeepers coming in on the roster, kind of rotating in, and we think like, oh man, is this going to be the year that Elder can't hold someone off? But you do. What has it felt like to have someone always looking over your shoulder, looking for your job? And what do you think you've been doing right to keep yourself firmly in that number 1 spot?
Well, I think it's important from a team perspective to have that internal competition. And City's deep, so you have it in every position, but there's only one goalie that gets to play. And if you're getting results, there's really not a reason to make that change. So I'm a really competitive person. So I just made sure that I always went into camp as fit as I could be. I just focused a lot on where I thought I needed extra work. And that changed from year 1 to, my final year. But I just try to identify my weaknesses and be okay with those and find a way to improve upon those. And then, the biggest reason I think that, because I'd say this last year was the toughest because Troy was coming off of a good college career, and as fit and as good as he had played ever since I had been around him. But we had Allie, who's now the goalie coach of the Kansas City women's professional team, train us the first 3-4 months of the preseason and season. And I mean, I think that brought just my sharpness to a whole nother level, just being around somebody with that kind of playing and coaching experience and just taking that seriously and just knowing you have to make the next play and you can't slip up or get caught sleeping for any reason, because there is a guy right on your heels that is ready. And if you give the net up, you may not get it back because, you know, they're just as talented and the guys in front of you are going to perform. So it's just making sure you got the net at the start of the year, and you just can't look back. Otherwise, you'll be sitting there watching the game.
So looking back, if you could change one thing, what would it be?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a question not a lot of people get asked.
We're only about the hard-hitting questions here, Matt.
Yeah. I don't know, because I don't really look back on much of the seasons, you know, with any sort of regret. I mean, if I could change one thing, and I'll kind of take the cop-out answer here, I would have loved to beat Cleveland and ended up hosting the entire national run at Augsburg. So I guess it's kind of a cop-out, but that's kind of the one real bummer of the last 6 years of playing, is everything was kind of teed up for us to host and, you know, be the one seed in the country, and the national tournament was going to have to go through us, and we didn't get it done. So I guess that's one thing that I would change if I could.
Well, you know, I've told people this past year, I feel it was totally disappointing. I mean, like, not the whole year, but like the end of it, because like we had, in my opinion, like we had the tools this year to do something really special nationally. But pretty much what my answer is that you kind of have to take those punches in the stomach to be able to figure out how to block them in the future. And that's kind of what we've done throughout our career, or our longevity of a club, is like figure out those pitfalls, course correct, and move on. And like it happened when we lost to Duluth that first year in the MPSL and we didn't make the playoffs. And it was just kind of real disappointing because we had a really good team. But then we learned how to win in the NPSL, and then look what happened after that. So it's interesting you brought that up, because I get that a lot too, because everyone's like, "Oh man, it was yours for the taking." I'm like, "Yeah, it was, but that's why you play the games, and you can't go back and change it. But if you could, exactly what you said, we'd be making the run to the national title going through Augsburg."
Yeah, and like you hit on, every year we made it a little bit further, and it's a total bummer to have you know only lose 2 games all season, and only one team finishes their season on anything but a loss, so it's hard to do that. But yeah, it was a special team. We were healthy. We had all of our guys. Everyone was bought in. We were at home. But yeah, I mean, again, soccer is a tough game, and any team on any day, and that's kind of the way the ball bounced that day.
Yeah, one rough call at the beginning of the second half, taking that goal back, and the momentum would have been ours. Oh well.
That's right.
Enough about that. That already happened in the past.
Yeah. Hey, so we touched on this before we hit record. Have you thought about life after playing? Like, are you going to be in the stands as a fan next summer, or are you going to be the guy that takes about 2 weeks off before you start creeping around the dome with like a thermos of rosé, hoping to chat people up and get back on the inside?
Yeah, I'll definitely be a fan. I think it's and I told Coach this and Pribble and Hoodeman when I, gave everyone calls to let them know I was going to be done. I don't think it's a club you can walk away from. They're just, it's done so right, and it's surrounded by such great people, whether it's the coaching staff, the front office, the fans, the players. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I will be in the stands. I will be cheering them on. I'll be following them. I saw the kits drop at 10:01 today and had some serious regret after seeing how slick the boys are going to be looking this summer. So yeah, no, I'm not walking away from City by any means. My playing days are just up.
Well, I got some on my sleeve for you that we'll talk about off air at some point. But so if the waterworks for folks haven't started yet, we're gonna end here with some real tear jerkers. What has the past 5 years meant to you specifically, and how will you look back at this particular time in your life down the road?
I think it's been really special because if you just look at a snapshot of somebody or anybody who plays any sort of sport, it doesn't even have to be soccer, but as you get older, the number of people that have the ability to continue playing or have the environment to continue to do so shrinks. You go from high school to college, that number drops dramatically. And then, after college, there's even less opportunity for people to continue playing. So to be able to come out of college and play in an environment that was as well organized, surrounded by such great teammates and fans, and to do it for 6-7 years post college, till I'm 29, that was really special. And I mean it's something I'll look back on forever and be grateful that I had the opportunity to continue playing this long, because it's very limited for the people who get to do that. And you look like a guy like Stiggy, who played in the inaugural season and then played our last season together. And I think he's probably 25 and is hanging him up now for his career down in Florida. So, I mean, to be able to play even longer than that, and he put together a really nice career, but to be able to play, a few years even past that, is something I'll always be grateful for.
Well, Matt, I know I speak for all the Murder, the staff, the founders of the club, that you've been a real special person to us since we started, whether it's counting on you to kind of keep us in the game with that big save, or getting the guys to show up to practice, maybe ragging on AO for coming late. You were a true leader, and we really needed that, especially starting the club out. And for that, I thank you for your service to the club. And there's no doubt, like you said, we'll see you around, because I know there's no way that you can totally pull the Band-Aid off. And we're going to miss you. We're going to miss your wife, your parents, the whole Elder clan out at the games. But like you said, I'm sure we'll see you and them as well. So thank you so much, for being on the show and being at this week. And we look forward to officially toasting to your career the next time we get together.
No doubt about it. Thank you guys for everything.
Yeah,
Thanks
you
so
got
much,
it,
Matt.
man. Thank you. We'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
That is all for this week's show, folks. Thank you once again, forever and ever, to the legend that is goalkeeper Matt Elder. And thanks as always to our show sponsor, footballstadiumprints.com. Footballstadiumprints.com has a massive selection of t-shirts, mugs, prints, and more, featuring the greatest pitches and players from around the world. They have so many amazing t-shirts. I can buy one for every single mannequin I have in my basement. I can put Edor Nelson Field on Jimbo, Sir Alex Ferguson on Kiki, and Matt Elder on my favorite mannequin, Chooch. Head over to footballstadiumprints.com. How has he not dropped this as a sponsor? Head on over to footballstadiumprints.com and use the code CROWS10. That's CROWS 10 to save yourself 10% on all of your new shirts, because they ship from the United States, You don't have to worry about any outrageous international shipping charges, and they arrive lickety-split once you purchase. It's last-minute holiday shopping time, folks, and this gear is perfect for the mannequin you almost forgot about because you keep it under the stairs. Thanks again to footballstadiumprints.com for not dropping us as a sponsor and for making perfect shirts to make a mannequin feel like new again. If giving back to the community means a lot to you, maybe it's time to give to the club that loves to give back. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that provides a safe, reliable, and fun environment for young people to play the beautiful game. We'll be out in the community centers around the city all winter, so help out the cause and consider a tax-deductible donation to a truly city-focused organization. Minneapolis City memberships are on sale now for only $99 for a full season pass, all the way down to $50 for an out-of-town membership. You can support the club and get some cool stuff in return. You get an exclusive membership scarf that was voted on by members, a membership card that gets you 10% off at the club shop, and you can also get to vote on important club matters, including picking the kit designs that just dropped. Go do it. Visit mplscitysc.com and make sure your totally legitimate, viable graphic design options are heard. Hey, send us mail. We haven't gotten any in ages, so we're kind of looking for some in the off season here. Hit us.
We're
up
looking
on
at you,
Twitter.
Bryn.
Yeah, Bryn, where you been, pal? It's easy to do. Hit us up on Twitter at The People's Pitch or through email at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. All questions, comments, and concerns are welcome. And finally, as always, you can hit up the club because Dan is super cool with you complaining to him at MPLS City SC. That is all for this week's show, folks. I am John. That was Matt Elder, and that was Nate crying in the corner. We'll be back one more time before the holiday break, so keep your mannequins clean and ready. Oh, God damn it. You got hooked.